Welcome back to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert, and I'm here with my friend Susan. It's no mistake that you're here. However, we are going to talk about mistakes.
But there are no mistakes in improv.
Oh, but there aren't any. Okay, so we're done. See you on the next dose.
It's interesting because we do have some guidelines and some rules, and so there's some improv games that are meant to be played a certain way. And when you have new people like me teaching, learning to teach and to present how to play a game, it is amazing how important it is to understand the steps of the game, even if you don't look like it's a bunch of steps when you present it to your students. If it's not a bunch of steps, they pretty much are going to mess it up. At least that's been my experience. And secondly, how beautiful it is when we slide off from the guidelines and discover a whole new way of playing the same game and have a big old time and look forward to telling you about it. Yeah. So, um, how does that happen?
Well, number one, the second part first, the idea of breaking the rules as they were in the guidelines and coming back, you've seen that happen. I would imagine. I feel like it has innumerable times where you guys did something different. I'm like, I never thought of it that way, and that might even be better. The fact it reminds me of one of my favorite improv games. It's called Game-O-Matic, and you may remember we played it a couple times where your job is three improvisers come up and they make up a game on the spot.
Ay, ay,
And
ay.
then the group votes on which one they want to play.
Oh,
And
that's
now
right.
we're just making up a game. And I think it underlines that principle, right? Of what we can yes and into reality from nothing to something brilliant. And yes, there's a whole scope of things that make up things that are more successful and generally places to play. And yeah, you that improv supports all of that, and it supports the shooting stars too. Now if you spend all your time blasting out, that's when you probably will be calling attention to yourself, and it can eventually
Oh.
cause a problem. But occasionally you do it just because of energy or focus or understanding, misunderstanding. Yeah, you can. That's when happy accidents create brand new things.
And you've taught us the concept of failing big. I don't know if that's a classic. Is that a classic improv concept?
It is very much so. Yeah. I
Is
mean,
it?
I think the when it got played here in the Bay Area in the tech sector in the 80s, comedy sports was a big part of that. And an Apple exec saw it back then, and they took some of the principles there. And they were one of the first Silicon companies to really embrace that. Now it's just mantra: fail big, fight to fail, even so that we can understand where are the holes in this thing. Because what often happens in development is people treat something, an idea, as too precious, and now we have to protect it, and all of a sudden it gets really small. It's like, look at this beautiful grain of sand. It's like, I can't see it anymore, and I can't do anything with it. What if you just melted it all and it
You're
became
funny.
glass? You could use it in a beautiful way, right? So yeah, it's
Yeah. Well, and in the writing process, when you maybe not the grain of sand, but as you get further down some dumb rabbit hole that you realize the further you fall, it's like, oh, now what am I going to do?
well, now you're going to defend it, darn it. You're going to say, well, here's why the rabbit hole matters.
And you keep trying, and then you say, you know what? I got to kill this. I just got to put this in a box and set it over here. Maybe I'll use it someday. And
Yeah.
that takes a certain kind of maturity that we learn in the process of cinema therapy. But where did we practice it? In the games. And you'll set us up to do something that maybe is intimidating, or maybe is a little overwhelming, or maybe somebody like me feels a little too shy or a little too inhibited to go crazy like that. But there's something about the community of people together, as that little quote that I just read said, I have a village, and that village loving me, whether it's an auga at the end or just a spontaneous gut busting, reaction of laughing, where I might have felt this is not working. all of a sudden my community tells me it worked like it was magic, lady. It was great. It was great fun. So what does that do? That empowers the individual to feel better, and be willing to try and to approach that place where you're failing, you're fearing failure, somehow less, it's less intimidating
Yeah. Well,
with the
you
practice.
when you practice failure, as it were, that is a big deal. You get comfortable with the fact of saying it's not the end of the world. I didn't die. In fact, I learned something on the way down to skinning my knee and how to patch up my knee. All of those things are life lessons, as opposed to constantly moving in such a way where I don't want to ever fall. And again, this isn't a call for anarchy, right? Some people misunderstand that and, oh, you're just saying bump into walls. No, it's not that. It's saying, recognizing that, accepting when I do bump into a wall, I bumped into a wall, rather than, no, that wall was there by design and I'm doing it's like, okay. Now you're not accepting that you bumped into a wall. So yeah, there's ways of justifying in positive ways, and it comes through acceptance.
And when you play, and we're there to play on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're there to play. We give ourselves an opportunity to go there, and maybe to face some kind of inner truth, that we don't want to, or we haven't been willing to, but there's a framework. I can see your wheels are spinning. Go.
Yeah, I got something. We'll take it to the next episode, though. You're right. What gets built in that framework, in that collective space, in that trust ensemble, whether it is improv or cinema therapy, there's something there that gets unleashed. We'll talk about it in the next episode. See you in a minute.
Okay.